Hello, this is Andrew Stibbards with Sunset Learning Institute, here to give a quick rundown about Cisco's new updated enterprise training. So what are the new courses? How do they map to the old courses? Let's jump in. Part of the agenda we're going to go through are some of the new types of courses called foundation courses. What are they? Why do you care? We'll take a look at what the old training was, the classic CCNA, CCNP, route switch, as well as wireless courses, and what they map to for the new courses. So whether you are the student or you're a training director, whatever role, when you're looking at the old acronyms, what does that map to for the new acronyms? Which course should you take? And we are going to take a look at both route switch and wireless here. Cisco has combined the wireless training into the overall enterprise track. That's becoming integrated and fundamental to most enterprises these days. Wireless is pretty popular, and so that is now one big track. So first off, foundation courses. The idea with a foundation course is these are non-certification courses. This is additional training, and it is usually about basic level training. So this would be for someone who either is new to that area, they're new to wireless, they're new to data center, they're new to enterprise networking, or they've got some networking experience, just not a lot in a specific area. So if we had someone who does a lot of contact center work, but is bridging into the world of wireless, well, they might take a wireless foundations course to establish a foundation, get that base information, and then they can build on top of that. Training badges, they currently exist for the old courses, the classic courses, if you will, where this is a badge hosted on Acclaim, where you can use that on LinkedIn, other social media, use that on resumes as proof of going through the training, acquiring a certification without having to provide the certification itself. So like as an example, currently, I have my CCNP route switch certification. I have an Acclaim badge, which is associated to my profile. Acclaim is integrated with Cisco, integrated with LinkedIn, and all their databases sync up to say, yes, that's Andrew, yes, he has the CCNP, and that badge I can use as part of a digital signature. I can use it in emails, resume, like I said, wherever I need to prove, yes, I have that certification. So with these foundation courses, you can have proof through the form of these training badges that you have that foundation. It's just not I'm just going on a limb here, it's not going to carry the same weight as the full certification from some of the other courses. It's just the foundation. The wireless foundation course. So some of the keywords, the topics here: basic wireless theory, basic wireless security. What is Cisco's wireless LAN controllers? What is Cisco's wireless design theory? RF, radio frequency management. The old course that that covered this material was YFund. And so YFund was for the old CCNA wireless. So if you have someone who says, I'm getting into the world of wireless, I'm taking over the wireless, we're about to deploy, I've never touched it before, it's all right, let's start. If you've never seen it before, let's start with the foundation. All right, so that's WLFNDU. It's a 5-day ILT with labs. Cisco has announced that the labs, unlike a lot of their courses, the labs for the foundation will actually be done by Cisco's partners, not by Cisco itself. I point that out because pretty much the rest of the enterprise track, all the labs will be hosted by Cisco. Partners can choose to host the labs, but Cisco will be hosting them as an option. So the enterprise foundation, the wireless foundation, it's an entry, it's a beginning. Maybe if you're transitioning between areas of IT, or if you've never touched it before, okay, it gets you that groundwork, but it's not part of the overall certification track. It just gets you a training badge. Okay, so now moving up to the official certification track. We have our classic CCNA route switch. So keywords there: basic routing, basic switching, the fundamentals. A little bit of overlap there with that ENFNDU, with the Enterprise Foundation. Yeah, a little overlap between the two of them. So to achieve the CCNA route switch certification, originally you could do either the CCNAX boot camp or the ICND1 and the ICND2 courses. So now there's just the new CCNA. There's no X on the new course. where it's not CCNA route switch. The new course is just CCNA, that's it, CCNA core, if you will. Where I've got the couple asterisks in there, they add in some basic wireless, basic automation, basic service provider information as well. I didn't put that in there because it's not a lot, but the new CCNA is designed to be the CCNA, the entry level cert for both wireless and service provider and data center and security and all the different fields. So if someone was interested in the old CCNA, they'll be interested in the new CCNA. If they're interested in getting an associate level cert, inch deep, mile wide, broad knowledge, the new CCNA covers that. It still fulfills that same role. It's just going to be a little broader because it's the CCNA for all the tracks, not just the enterprise. I put it in here because it is the one CCNA. It's still a 5-day ILT course, but it also includes 3 days of self-study. So to accommodate that, Cisco is doing lab access for 90 days from the end of the course, not 180 days like it used to be, but still 90 days of lab access with an active timer. So whichever one runs out first, the timer or the 90 days. Now here's where it gets fun. With the CCNP training for CCNP Enterprise, classically, you had the CCNP route switch certification. You had your 3 courses, route switch and T-shoot. You take all 3 courses, you pass all 3 exams, you get your certification, you're good. And the idea there was all 3 of the courses had their focus, whether it was advanced routing, advanced switching, troubleshooting obviously, and that whole body of knowledge together was what the CCNP certification was certifying. So they've changed that up. The focus is not on one overall body of knowledge now. The focus with the new CCNP Enterprise is having a central core exam where everyone's going to have the same core, the same foundation. Sorry, a little overlap in terminology there. It's not the foundation course, the same groundwork, the same base layer of information. And then you choose your concentration. You can specialize a little bit in order to earn your CCNP Enterprise. So everyone takes the core, the ENCOR exam. We'll talk a little bit what's on that. And then you choose one of the concentrations. You can choose multiple, but at least one. So let's take a look. Well, from the old courses to the new courses, route switch and T-shoot, where do those fit in when you start looking at these new courses? So starting with route, that maps to the ENRC course, or ENARSI. I'm sure the acronyms will work themselves out over the next couple of days. The keywords you're looking for, if someone's interested in routing, right, advanced routing, routing manipulation, they're focusing on EIGRP, OSPF, migrating between routing protocols. Classically, it was route. Now it's ENRC, where you're looking at implementing Cisco's routing solutions. I put a couple asterisks in there. Infrastructure services, that's a lot of troubleshooting information. The T-shoot course doesn't exist anymore. Obviously, they're changing all the courses. But when they say infrastructure services, they add in some troubleshooting to the ENRC course, but they also add in some automation as well. Okay, you're going to see automation as part of every new course that Cisco is pushing out. But if for those keywords, for those topics, if someone was looking at the route course, you would put them in ENRC, or if you are the student you're looking at route, you would look at ENRC. This is the interesting one. The switch course, according to Cisco, maps to the ENCOR, the enterprise core. So the keywords, spanning tree protocol, layer 2 security, virtualization, the switch course taught those. But where it gets a little different is the wireless. The ENCOR actually covers a little bit of wireless deployment. Network assurance, that's their terminology for more troubleshooting, more monitoring and management, a little bit of automation in there as well. The ENCOR course is not a direct mapping from the old switch course. It's I put a note in there, it's really not fair to say if you were looking at switch, go take the ENCOR course. Remember, classic CCNP route switch, it was expected that you were taking route, switch, and T-shoot, all 3 courses, the total body of knowledge. With the new certification track, everyone is taking the ENCOR as the groundwork for their CCNP Enterprise certification. So even though someone says, oh, if you're looking at switch, take the ENCOR, there's some overlap, but really the ENCOR, think of it like CCNA on steroids, all right? Inch deep, mile wide, but on more advanced topics because it covers that groundwork. It sets the foundation for everyone's CCNP Enterprise. So yes, if someone was looking at switch, you point them at ENCOR, or if you were looking at switch, you look at ENCOR. It's just be aware there is a lot of additional material in there. For the design course, all right, no, this one's a straight mapping, pretty straightforward. Design points to the ENSLD, the new design course. So same idea, advanced addressing, advanced WAN deployments, network services, planning for services, and right there, automation. All right, automation's folding into all the new courses. That's a little new. So if anyone was looking at design certifications, becoming a design specialist, if they were looking at the design course before, you're pointing at the new ENSLD. Now here's one of the new ones which doesn't quite map to an old course. We have the SD-WAN 300. So there's an older course, ENSDW, the Cisco SD-WAN Operation Deployment course. That was a two-day course. That still exists, and it's still an entry-level SD-WAN course. So SD-WAN 300 is part of the CCNP Enterprise track, so ENSDW is not. So ENSDW was kind of a stopgap measure for the Cisco to have SD-WAN training while SD-WAN 300 is being built. So this course, it's a 4-day ILT with labs, goes over what is the SD-WAN solution, how to configure the pieces of the solution, the management tools. It's like ENSDW, but a little more advanced, a little more in depth. Definitely goes more into the automation, the monitoring, the troubleshooting than the ENSDW course covers. So if someone wanted to take this as their concentration, they could take the ENCOR. Everyone takes the same core, get that baseline knowledge. And then if they were focusing, they're the WAN engineer and they're deploying or they're migrating to Cisco's SD-WAN solution, they could take the SD-WAN 300. No old course to map it to. It really doesn't replace anything. It's pretty new. But yeah, we're focusing on SD-WAN moving forward. If there was a question of should I take ENSDW before I take SD-WAN 300, not really. I wouldn't really recommend that. If you have good routing and switching knowledge, if you have good awareness of WAN deployment methodologies, good routing protocol knowledge, you could probably jump right into the SD-WAN 300. There's no need to take ENSDW before you take SD-WAN 300. But if someone just needs a quick little 2-day primer, they don't want the full 4-day course, sure, ENSDW still exists. And another new course is the ENAUI, the automation course. Now this one's a little interesting. Cisco has not released all the course information yet, but they did release the exam topics. So from the exam topics, we can infer what this course will cover. And so it's going to cover programming. All right, so you got your keywords right there, SDN, programming, networking, scripting, automation. If someone says they're looking to automate, they're looking to program, they're looking to script their network, this would be the course to put them into. This touches on a little bit of identity service engine, a little bit of wireless, definitely routers and switches, DNA center, but it's really, this whole course is for those who are programmatically scripting minded. All right, not for every network engineer. Kind of the interesting part with this one, this is a concentration exam. It's a concentration course for both the enterprise and the DevNet tracks. So you could double dip. You could actually get your CCNP Enterprise as well as your CCNP DevNet by just doing this one automation course. There's similar automation courses out there. This is the enterprise automation. There's also a security automation. There's a data center automation, service provider automation. So each of the different tracks has a automation focused course. This is just the enterprise one. So if you're looking at it from a network engineer who is looking to automate, looking to script their network, there you go. We have a full 5-day course. Well, I shouldn't say 5-day course. They haven't released the course details yet, but there is a course for that. Doesn't really map to any of the old training because it's pretty new. Now, I mentioned wireless, last couple pieces here. Wireless has been mapped into the enterprise track. There's no more wireless track, it's just all enterprise now. And so the old CCNA wireless that doesn't exist anymore moving forward. Like I said, they're consolidating all the CCNAs down to just one core CCNA. So if someone was interested in CCNA wireless, all right, so you can point them at that wireless foundations course that we talked about, or you can look at the new CCNA. Depends upon how much wireless they're looking for. In the new CCNA, we actually cover how to access a wireless LAN controller, how to do basic setup, how to set up a wireless LAN. Very, very basic. Can't stress that enough. If they're looking for more along the lines of what Y-Fund was, where it's more radio theory and what are APs and what are antennas and a little broader knowledge specifically in the world of wireless, then yeah, WLFNDU is definitely the way to go. But if it's just if they need to lightly touch it, yeah, you could look at CCNA. So that's your one-to-one mapping there. CCNA wireless, go to that foundation course, but there's really there's no certification for CCNA wireless anymore. You can get that training badge, but that's it. Now CCNP wireless, similar to CCNP route switch, they redesigned the focus. So it used to be you had your 4 courses, you pass your 4 courses, you get your 4 exams, you get your certification, and it was the why design, why deploy, why secure, why T-shoot, that total body of knowledge. So now it's again, you pass the core, and then you've got your 2 concentrations, ENWLSD, ENWLSI, for the design or implementation of wireless as your concentration. So ENCOR, it's the same ENCOR we talked about earlier. So it's like the CCNA on steroids, inch deep, mile wide, more advanced topics. But let's take a look at the design and implement. So who would be interested in those? What if someone was looking at the old CCNP wireless courses? What would they take here? So the ENWLSD, this would be for someone who was originally interested in the design or the T-shoot courses. More the design, but a little bit of the troubleshoot. So if someone's interested in just more advanced wireless training, more advanced radio management, definitely design aspects, deploying new networks. When it says surveys, predictive surveys, pre-deployment, post-deployment surveys, awareness, monitoring of the wireless network, that's where ENWLSD comes into play. So obviously if they're looking at T-shooter design, that maps over to ENWLSD. I will say the topics contained here are going to be more relevant to more deployments, more networks. These options are going to be pretty common, pretty helpful. So if someone wanted to do both ENWLSD and LSI, wanted to do both the advanced wireless courses, I would say start with this one. All right, it does a little more from a groundwork perspective. Theoretically, as long as they've got a good background, it doesn't matter which one you take first. I would personally take this one before I take the implementation course. Speaking of which, the ENWLSI, this is for for students who are looking at why deploy or why secure. All right, there's a little bit of design in this, but it's definitely more about securing and deploying the wireless network. So if you hear about Flex Connect, about remote locations, quality of service, implementing the mobility service engine or the mobile experience, wireless with ICE, that all comes in here. We don't really deal with the identity service engine a lot in the ENWLSD course. So if they say they're integrating their wireless with ICE, you're deploying ICE, and you say, how do I take advantage of that from my wireless side? ENWLSI. All right, again, 5-day ILT with labs. And from a topic perspective, from a radio perspective, from a wireless perspective, this definitely is a little more advanced than the ENWLSD. There's a little overlap between them, so you see some monitoring, some security in there, but it's not exactly the same. Definitely more security focused. All right. So, final thoughts here. From Cisco, officially, there's no more prerequisites for any of their courses, any of their exams. You can do anything in whatever order you want. I will say that I would highly recommend the WLFNDU or the new CCNA if the student is unsure or new to that technology area. Theoretically, a student is allowed, if you are the student, you are allowed to just jump into the enterprise core and then the one be the one with wireless specializations. Doesn't matter. But that could be a problem if you don't have a good enterprise networking or wireless background. So definitely take a look at what is the background of that student. If you are the student, take a look at the recommendations that are the recommended knowledge before you take the course. Otherwise, you might be in over your head on Monday morning. As far as lab access, CCNA, the new CCNA, you get 90 days of lab access or for those 3 days of self-study with an active timer. Every other course, all the new CCNP, all the enterprise core, all the wireless, the automation courses, all of them, it's lab access only during the week of class.